The humidity hung thick over the dark suburban backroad as Roderick sat in his cruiser, the dash lights casting an eerie glow on his features. He didn't see himself as a public servant. He saw himself as a gatekeeper of a territory he felt he owned. He specialized in proactive policing, which was usually just a thin veil for his own prejudices. Driving a pristine deep navy sedan, Asher moved to the intersection with clinical precision. He was dressed in a deep navy tactical polo and white chinos, his posture straight, and his hands at the 10-2 position. Asher was a high-ranking military intelligence officer on leave, a man whose life was built on discipline and the quiet observation of threats. As the strobe of red and blue flickered in his mirror, he didn't panic. He simply pulled over, his mind already recording every tactical error the officer was about to make. Roderick didn't approach the window with a request. He approached with a threat. He reached out and slammed his heavy metal flashlight against the driver's side pillar with a bone-jarring thud, then aggressively jerked the door open before Asher could even reach for the handle. Out of the car, hands where I can see them. Roderick screamed, "Is there a violation, officer?" Asher asked, his voice a calm, resonant deep navy that seemed to infuriate Roderick further. Roderick didn't use words to respond. He reached into the cabin, grabbed the collar of Asher's deep navy polo, and physically hauled him out of the vehicle, slamming him against the side of the sedan. As Asher maintained a non-threatening stance, Roderick delivered a sharp, aggressive shove to Asher's chest, pinning him against the metal. While holding him there, Roderick signaled to his partner, Killian, who was wearing a bold red-trimmed tactical vest. Killian reached into his own pocket, pulled out a small yellow baggie of illicit substances, and tossed it onto the floor mat of Asher's car. The justice debt began to skyrocket. Killian moved in, grabbing Asher's arm and twisting it into a painful vertical lock against his back, forcing Asher's face down toward the hot trunk of the car. "Looks like you're going away for a long time, Major," Killian sneered, mocking Asher's military-style haircut. The witnesses in the scene, the drivers of 3 cars stopped behind them due to the block lane, watched in horror. A young man in a white hoodie, Asher, held his phone out the window, the camera lens catching every second of the physical assault. A woman in a yellow sundress, Iris, stood by her car door, her face a massive shock as she shouted, "He isn't resisting. Why are you hitting him?" The scene was a blur of white and yellow witnesses, recording the blatant setup. "Officer, I strongly suggest you check the encrypted compartment in my yellow leather wallet before you proceed," Asher said, his face pressed against the cold steel of the car, his eyes locked on Roderick. "I don't care about your wallet. I care about the felony I just found." Roderick barked. He reached for Asher's head and slammed it down once more against the trunk, completely unaware that Asher's watch had already sent an officer in distress signal to a nearby military installation. The tension on the dark road snapped when the sound of the interstate was drowned out by the heavy, rhythmic thrum of dual-rotor blades. A royal blue spotlight, powerful enough to bleach the color from the asphalt, descended from the sky. Roderick looked up, his aggressive snarl faltering as the wind from the hovering chopper whipped his uniform. "Get your hands off me, officer. Now," Asher commanded. His voice wasn't a plea. It was a directive issued from a man who outranked everyone within a 50-mile radius. Roderick, fueled by a desperate need to maintain control, didn't let go. He lunged forward, grabbing Asher's throat with one hand while reaching for his service weapon with the other. "I don't care if you have a pilot's license. You're a felon." Before Roderick could unholster his sidearm, the passenger door of a blacked-out SUV that had roared onto the scene slammed open. 2 men in deep Navy tactical gear, wearing white identification patches marked military police, sprinted toward them. Asher didn't wait for them. He caught Roderick's wrist in a crushing grip, twisted it outward until the officer let out a sharp cry of pain, and then physically shoved Roderick back against the cruiser's trunk. Asher reached into his deep Navy polo and pulled out a heavy matte black case. He flipped it open to reveal a yellow-trimmed military intelligence credential with a level for global oversight clearance. "The satellite has been live streaming your partner planting those drugs for the last 5 minutes," Asher said, his face cold and unyielding. The power shift was so violent that Killian, in his bold red-trimmed vest, dropped his flashlight and put his hands in the air immediately. The witnesses in the scene, the crowd in white and yellow began to move forward, their phones capturing the ultimate humiliation. Iris, in her yellow sundress, was now standing just feet away. Her camera focused on Roderick's face as his career evaporated in real time. A high-ranking military provost marshal in a deep Navy uniform stepped into the light. He didn't speak to Roderick. He looked at Asher. "Colonel, are you injured?" "I'm fine, Sergeant Major." "Secure the evidence." The yellow baggie is under the driver's seat. It was planted by the officer in the red vest, Asher reported. Asher then stepped toward Roderick, who was frozen in terror. Asher reached out and grabbed the front of Roderick's uniform, jerking him forward so their faces were inches apart. "You chose the wrong man to frame today." With a single violent motion, Asher ripped the silver badge off Roderick's chest, snapping the fabric and the pins, and dropped it into the dirt. The military police didn't use standard handcuffs. They used heavy-duty zip ties, physically forcing Roderick and Killian onto their stomachs in the gravel. The witnesses erupted in cheers as the two corrupt officers were dragged by their arms toward the back of a deep Navy transport vehicle. Roderick's face was pressed against the road, his eyes wide as he watched his cruiser being impounded by federal agents. Asher straightened his deep Navy polo, picked up his yellow wallet, and looked at the crowd. "Thank you for recording," Asher told the witnesses. Without the light, people like to stay in the shadows. He stepped back into his deep Navy sedan and drove off as the royal blue spotlight from the chopper faded, leaving the disgraced officers to face a military tribunal they could never escape.